And now I'm joined in studio by Utica City FC head coach Ryan Hall. Thank you for taking a second to be here.
Pleasure.
So the season ended last year in April, and I'm just curious, what has the off-season been like? Obviously, you made it to the division champions first year in Utica, and then made it in the playoffs, but had the ending being eliminated. But what has the off-season in between been like?
Good and bad. It's obviously sour. We didn't fulfill the championship run that we wanted to. It ended a little bit too soon for us, but it was good. It got us able to establish a good base here in Utica, things that we could work on and improve heading into year two. So this offseason was really spent on adding some new players, breaking down film, and making sure that we put the necessary pieces together to make a true championship run this season.
That's a good point, because Syracuse was originally where the team was from, and then it made its first year here in Utica last year. So what is one of the biggest things that you learned as coach in Utica last year that could be brought to this season?
Just the preparation. Making sure that our game plan for each game is appropriate, that we're breaking down individual teams, individual players, and giving our players the necessary tools to perform at their highest level. We have a great fan base. That you can see by the attendance numbers at the Odd, and we want to make sure we put on a product that they enjoy and they welcome, and and in the same token, we're winning games. So a lot of what our off season was just the preparation leading into this year, so that we put a good product on the field. And
speaking of winning games, you did have the exhibition game this past weekend against Team Canada, which was the 6-2 win. Just how big is it to get back on the turf now?
Tremendous. So we've had a long preseason, and like you said, it's been a long off season. So the guys are itching to get back on the turf, and especially at home at the Odd in front of our crowd. And it was good. It allowed us to expose some of our weaknesses and things that we need to focus on heading into the regular season. There were some good things, some bad things, but that's what the scrimmage is for, is just kind of iron out some of the details. And really set the tone of where we're at and where we need to go. So the guys I know are excited to get back in front of the fans. Some of our new acquisitions, it's the first time they've seen that kind of a crowd and that atmosphere. So I think it's great, especially heading into the season opener this weekend. And
you mentioned that it was a win. Just how big is it to get a win to start the season, whether it's an exhibition or even a regular season game?
It's tremendous. Again, preseasons are always grueling. It's tiring on the guys' legs. It's a lot of long days, two-a-days, in the gym, sprints, ironing out some of the kinks in the game. So for them to even come in, and regardless if it's who we're playing against, the fact that we got to win builds that confidence heading into the opening weekend. There's no question there's things we need to work on, but at the same token, we're building that confidence and allowing the guys to play their game, and it's a work in progress, and we'll start with week one.
And you also mentioned that there have been some changes to the personnel on the team. What kind of are the biggest things that fans will notice as far as play is concerned this year?
Yeah, there's no secret. There's a lot of turnover, and we brought in some new players. The guys we brought in, are pieces that we feel as an organization will help us get to that next level, get past the first and second rounds in the playoffs. We brought in some guys that are a little bit younger, a little bit faster, a little bit more technical. It'll be a work in progress getting everybody on the same page, but at the same token, thinking long term, and especially this season, heading into making the playoff run, these guys are very good at what they're doing. We just got to get everyone on the same page, moving in the right direction. It'll be fun. We're building a team that is comprised of players that are going to win a championship and bring it back home to Utica.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but the season's 24 regular season games, is that right?
Correct, 24
So in 24 games, how long into the season do you think it takes to kind of maybe brush that rust off or get a team's chemistry to start working together really well?
Sooner the better. Unfortunately, we don't have, time is not luxury with only 24 games. It's not a hockey season or a baseball season where you have, 80 games, 100 games to work that out. The sooner we can get everybody on the same page, the better. But some things just take time. We're hoping that we iron them out this week in training before the opening weekend, and we can be firing on all cylinders. But the reality situation is, the more we spend together and the more time the guys are around each other, the more continuity we build, and that camaraderie, and will sort of overcome some of the gaps. So right now, everyone's sort of in the right direction, moving. We're definitely taking steps in the right direction, but it'll take some time. I think the overall competitiveness and the skill level of this team will help us in the beginning until we gel as one unit, and hopefully help us overcome some obstacles.
What's the biggest thing you do from your perspective as head coach to get these guys to gel?
Just for the most part, making sure everyone's on the same page, making sure the communication's there, breaking teams down, watching film, the preparation off the field and in the office, and breaking down other teams' tactics, individuals, breaking our team tactics and individuals down, and just making sure the game plan's there, and giving the team the necessary tools so that when they step on the field, they're prepared and ready to go to battle.
And when you do get ready to go to battle, that first game on the road on November 22nd and also the home opener 2 days later on November 24th is against the Baltimore Blast, who was the team that eliminated Utica City FC from the playoffs in April. Just how big is it for this team to play that team right away?
Even going back to when this team was based out of Syracuse, the Baltimore Blast have been sort of our Achilles heel and our biggest rivals. And it sets the tone for the season. Both opening up their home opener and then coming here and playing for our home opener against the Baltimore Blast sets the tone for the season. It'd be easy if you were to kind of line up some cupcake games early to kind of build some confidence, but we're confident in our ability and we want to go out there and showcase and put the league on notice that we're a real deal and we're here to play, and no better way to do that than to beat Baltimore both at their arena and then home for our home opener.
What is the biggest difference that you find, having been a coach of this team, both in Syracuse and now in Utica for a year, entering your second year? What's the biggest difference you find between playing in Utica at home and playing back in Syracuse at home a few years ago?
The atmosphere. I mean, there's no question. The support and the way the city has welcomed us has been second to none. I mean, arguably the best fans in the league. The way this team has wrapped themselves around the community and the community wrapped themselves around us, the support has been absolutely tremendous. There's no other place I'd rather play. Same with opposing teams. They come in here and they see the crowd and they're amazed at what goes on here. So the support, I think, and the atmosphere of game day is something that is second to none, and that's the biggest transition from Syracuse. We had a great following in Syracuse, but it doesn't even compare to the following we have in Utica and the support. So that alone, I know fires the guys up, and there's that added edge that we have. In football, you have the 12th man and stuff like that, and so for us, having the fans here on our back pocket, it definitely helps the guys get through some tough times and overcome some adversity.
And maybe just taking a second to look back one more time before this season fully gets underway, what most surprised you about last year, the first season here in Utica?
Again, it has to be just the way the city welcomed us. Walking into Utica, we really didn't know what to expect, and vice versa. The city really didn't know what to expect from us. So the fact that we were welcomed with open arms by the entire city, and the support that we got throughout the season has been tremendous. I mean, it's something fairy tales are written about. To be honest, it gives you chills thinking about it. I know it adds fuel to the fire for our guys to go out there and put their best performance out, and it's just something that it's really hard to put into words. It's been a remarkable first year, and we're looking to build and capitalize on that moving into year two. And now we want to give back to the fans what they've given us, and that would be a championship at the end of this year.
I've looked back at some film and I see when players have scored goals last year, you jump up on the side because the glass is gone, put your arms up, talk to the crowd. Just how much does the atmosphere and the fans really make a difference in, even achieving being the North Division champions in your first season last year in Utica?
It's everything. It's hard to get up for games when you're playing in front of 10, 20 people, and it's easy when you walk out and you have a standing ovation of a sold-out crowd and everyone's chanting and cheering and singing, and it helps teams overcome certain adversity that you couldn't necessarily do if those people weren't there. I mean, they are definitely as much a part of this team as the guys on the bench, and it allows you and forces guys to put out that extra effort just because that they're there waiting for you, cheering for you. It's a great relationship, and we'll be the first guys to hang out with them after the games. But they're as much a part of the team, if not more part of this team than anybody else. And that's what helps drive this force is the crowd and the atmosphere and the people of Utica.
And so when you look at your roster now approaching 1 week until the first game, what most excites you about this coming season?
Just the talent that we have. We brought in some new players that are very technically sound, very exciting, very fun to watch. And once we get all on the same page, it'll be a show. Obviously we have to stay disciplined in our tactics and what we're trying to do, but at the same token, we have to put on a show for the fans. We got to score goals. We have to minimize goals against, and this team that we've put together is ripe to do so. And so I'm excited that moving forward, as the season progresses, we will be the talk of the league and be something to watch.
Is there anything else that I wouldn't have think to ask about this team going forward in its second season in Utica, or just this season in general and how things are going to play out that you think is important to know?
Nothing per se. I think the fact that we do have some turnover, we do have some new components, and it will take a little bit of time to gel. But at the same token, it's a very talented team, very well-rounded team, and I'm excited. These guys have put in the work in the offseason, day in and day out, getting together, outside of their own jobs to just put the work in, just to get over that hump. And so I'm excited to see what this team can do once we start rolling.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to
Thank you
speak.
so much.
Also, Utica City FC's first game is on the road at the Baltimore Blast on November 22nd, and then first home game November 24th against the same team.